What up, guys? Spot on picks here. Today we're breaking down UFC Greenville, Moicano versus Jung, Korean Zombie. Last week we did pretty well. I've made some good calls on a lot of the fights that most people got wrong. So right now I feel like I'm hitting my stride and making picks. Like I'm hitting my prime right now. So everything from here on out is gold. Like I'm hitting the stride. This card is interesting card. A lot of fighters from around the world are on this card, man. Some Brazilians, you got some Nigerians, you got a lot of Americans. It's just like it's an interesting card. But let's start it off with Andrea Ewell versus Anderson dos Santos. And Andrea Ewell faced Nathaniel Wood in his last fight. He just couldn't handle the pressure. I mean, he's a low output fighter. And before that, he was on a nice little run. He beat an old Renenbrow. And he beat Paiva. Wait. Oh, that's a different Paiva. I was thinking of the Paiva that fought Cara France. But no, this is Andre Well. And he's a solid fighter, but the only thing about him is just so low output. And his opponent, Anderson dos Santos, he's 33, 20 fights, 20 wins, and 7 losses. Came off he got dominated by Nadner Money. And before that, I mean, he went on a little 3-fight win streak. He's kind of loses a couple fights, wins a couple fights. That's how his career is going so far. He does have a win over Ricky Simone. He gave Ricky Simone his only loss, which is very interesting. But the thing about him is he's just so tight, like his boxing. He seems to have decent jiu-jitsu. If he choked out, what's that kid's name? He choked out Ricky Simone in the second round, but his striking's just so tight. And other than Ricky Simone, he hasn't really fought anyone. I mean, he even got strangled by Said near Magomedov. And overall, I just don't think Bruno's Anderson dos Santos' hands can keep up with Andre Ewell right now. I mean, Andre Ewell is deceptively long. He leaps in, he covers distance quickly. And I feel like he only really loses to people who are stronger and can control where the fight goes. I don't see Anderson dos Santos controlling where the fight goes against Andrew Ewell, so therefore I don't think he's gonna get I got Ewell decision, man. If Anderson gets desperate and gasses, he could finish it, but I just got Ewell decision. All right. Then it is Deron Winn versus Bruno Silva. And I think this is Bruno Silva's debut. Brazilian fighter, apparently the number 1 ranked fighter in Brazil. But Deron Winn, he's training with, AKA, he's like DC's little prodigy. And I mean, when I watched this guy's film, when I seen him fight in the past, all I gotta say is pressure and prodigy and pedigree. Because, I mean, this guy comes from a high pedigree. He's like a little DC. I said Alira Tifi was like a little DC, but this guy is like a real, like, miniature DC. He chain wrestles like DC. His constantly keep his head in the opponent's chest. It's just like DC. And before, I believe he was fighting at light heavyweight. Deron Winn. He's dropping down to middleweight for this fight, which is interesting. Maybe he'll have more luck. Maybe he'll be even stronger at middleweight, but I'm not too concerned with that. Bruno Silva. At first, I couldn't find film on this guy because he has the same name as some other, like, flyweight fighter. But once I did, he wins the fights, but he has bad moments, and they're against lesser competition. M1 challenge and RCC fighting in the cage. So he doesn't have a crazy output or pace, but he throws 2 shots at a time typically. And I mean, his last fight versus Artem Frolov, he got his back took. He got out-grappled a bit. It was pretty bad. He won the fight. He ended up finishing him in the 4th round, but he didn't look good, and I don't think he wanted to get pushed around on the ground with Deron Winn. Like, he can grapple all day, man. So I said I wasn't going to spend too much time talking on this one. It's interesting to watch this guy Deron Winn fight because this man's like 5'5", yeah. So, but I don't know if he'll be able to reach the top of the division, but maybe he'll be like a solid contender. Maybe he'll beat a couple contenders, and we'll see. I mean, imagine Deron Winn versus Stylebender or some shit like that. That'd be pretty dope. That'd be funny. And then it is Alan Crowder versus Jair Rozenstruik. Or no, it's Molly McCann versus Ariana Lipski. And Lipski, she's just a complete novice on the ground. Joanne Holler really exposed that. I wouldn't say Joanne's even the best grappler either. She turned into a grappler when she fought Lipski though. Lipski's footwork is shit too. Molly McCann, she's not the best fighter either, but just from what I've seen in Lipski's last fight and compared to McCann's last fight, it's completely, they look like a different class of fighter. I'm sure Lipski has a little power, but McCann got a nice little quick left hook, and she has grappling if she needs to use it. She likes to use her boxing, but she's kind of shifty with her footwork and her hands. I like what she's doing. I think that win in the UFC really is what she needed. She could beat some girls in that division. So I just think Lipski's, I don't know if she could ever get a win in the UFC unless she fought like someone I don't even know. But I don't see her getting a win here, especially. McCann might submit her. McCann might just decision her, but not the most entertaining fight. Kind of interesting though. Now we got Alan Crowder versus Jair Rozenstruik. And Alan Crowder he won his last fight by DQ against Greg Hardy. He got kneed in the head while he's on the ground. And Jair Rozenstruik slept a fool in his last fight. He slept Junior Albini. And he's been sleeping fools. He's shown that he can go decision too. So it's kind of, I mean, he got up in his last fight. He got taken down. He's a kickboxing like phenom, but he has some real solid MMA skills too. Junior Albini is not the best fighter, but I mean he can put some work in on some guys, and Jairzinho just fucking slept him in the 2nd round. So Alan Crowder, the one thing I can say about him is just how he got slept by Willis. I mean, Willis is not a good striker, bro. He's just so bad. Justin Willis, and he got slept in the 1st round, bro. So he was fighting in Bellator. He was fighting, got a nice little win in the contender series. He likes to wrestle, man. He's not going to be able to. He might get Rozenstruik down, but Rozenstruik's proven that he can get up and still have KO power, so I'm not too worried about it. This is probably my lock of the night. Easy money right there. Next up, we got Matt Wiman versus Luis Pena. And, Luis Pena, I was high on this guy when he was on The Ultimate Fighter. Just like a couple guys in that season, like Giannetti and Bryce Mitchell, Brad Katona. but I thought Luis Pena had a lot of promise, especially what he showed on the Ultimate Fighter finale. He guillotined the fool, and then he fought the winner of Ultimate Fighter that season, Mike Trizano, and he got outclassed completely. It was a split decision, but I thought Pena lost unanimously. Like, he got beat up in that fight. He just looked weak, and that was at 155. After that, he moved back down to 145 to fight Steven Peterson, and then now he's moving back up to 155. It's kind of interesting, but maybe he feels he could do a little better there. Matt Wiman, he's a 17-fight veteran in the UFC. I never heard of this guy, man, but he's been around. And what I could say about him is he's a dirty, grimy fighter. Like, he's not dirty in a bad way, but he likes the pressure and not technical in the least bit. But I say if Luis Pena has any type of footwork, if he's been working on any type of footwork, he can win this. You can never be too confident in Luis Pena. He's kind of weak, man. He just, no power in his hands. Weird fighter, but this is like a tailor-made matchup for him. So he might get a KO even, but if he doesn't, I mean, that just shows you he was a hype draw. He's promising though, but he'll win this fight, probably decision. And then we got Dan Ige versus Kevin Aguilar. And the one thing I could say about Ige is he has a decent chin. Other than that, he likes to grapple. When he gets frustrated on the feet, he lunges in with his punches. He gets desperate and he dives for the ankles. Kevin Aguilar put on a masterclass performance in his last fight versus Barzola. Kevin Aguilar really reminds me of an orthodox Dustin Poirier. The way his footwork is kind of clunky, but it's so effective. That's kind of how I box with my footwork. It's very guys underestimate it. You catch him with the hook. For him, it's a left hook. For me and Dustin Poirier, it's a right hook, southpaw. But I love that style. I think that Dustin Poirier has a great chance to beat Khabib. But talking about Kevin Aguilar, yeah, his last performance. He has great instincts, and he's used to people trying to take him down like Dan Ige will. He doesn't get flustered, man. He's improved a lot in his past couple fights. I mean, this guy has a lot of fights. With one loss, he lost one fight to Leonard Garcia that he was winning. He was doing decent in, but he just got slept. But other than that, he's a pure striker, and he can go with a solid 5 to 3 rounds. Like, he has cardio for days. Danny is going to be eating this guy at the end of his punches all day, man. So that's what you can expect to see in that one. Now we got Ashley Yoder versus Syuri Kondo. Ashley Yoder, her last fight versus ABC, Amanda Cooper, she didn't look horrible, but some people say she could have lost that fight. And Syuri Kondo, the only thing I can say about Syuri Kondo, she has decent leg kicks. That's it. She's slow and she's gunshot. She's only 30. Damn, I thought she was older. She got KO'd by Poliana Batella. That was kind of weird. Like, I mean, it could have been expected the way she was just dominating her competition before, and then she fought a real fighter. I don't know why the UFC's keeping her around. Maybe that's women's division for you, I guess. But I mean, Ashley Yoder's she's not a fun fighter to watch, but she has great grappling. Got Pat Barry in her corner. You can't pick anyone else in this fight. I mean, if you have Pat Barry in your corner, look at J.J. Alders. She was doing great in that fight against Macy Barber until she wasn't. She got KO. Look at Rosa. I mean, she was doing phenomenal in her fight versus Jessica Andrade before she got KO. So if you don't have that KO crazy power and you're a scared fighter like Kondo, you don't have any chance in this one, man. I see her probably getting submitted. I mean, Ashley Yoder's a big girl, man. Syuri Kondo's only 5'4", so I think Yoder will probably wrap her neck up or catch her in some weird submission. Next up, it is Kevin Holland versus Alessio de Chirico. Kevin Holland made his debut against Thiago Santos. That's some badass shit, man. And before that, he was doing good lower in the LFA and the other little smaller organizations, but he got to the UFC. At first, I heard an interview that said Dana didn't like him, like he thought he talked too much, but they needed an opponent for Thiago Santos, so he just threw him in there. And he almost caught Santos in an armbar, and he actually went to decision with Santos. He's dynamic, man. This kid's dynamic. And his only problem is he doesn't have the highest fight IQ. Like, in his fight versus Mearshart, he just kept engaging in the grappling when he didn't have to. He had Mearshart hurt so many times, and he just didn't want to finish it, I guess. But in his fight versus John Phillips, man, that shit was crazy. He was hitting him with so many shots. He had John Phillips frozen. And John Phillips is a horrible fighter, but look what he did to Jack Marshman. I mean, he probably won that fight against Jack Marshman, in my opinion. But Alessio de Chirico, he's a loaded up left hand, from what I've seen from him. And he's a decent body kick, but he doesn't pressure, man. He lets guys dictate the pace with him. I could already see this fight going on. He's never fought a fighter like Kevin Holland, man. He's gonna be flustered. He just doesn't. He's fine backing up. He's fine with his back against the cage, and he's real slow. So when you're that slow and you don't have the reach advantage over Kevin Holland, man, you have no chance in this fight. And you gas as well, as I've seen. He's a big middleweight, man. He cuts a lot of weight. Kevin Holland doesn't. So I see this might be competitive in the first round, but in the second and third, I just see Kevin Holland putting it on him. Alessio might try to turn into a grappler for this fight. That'd be interesting. But I got Kevin Holland in this matchup. Next up, it is Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa. Andrea Lee's she's a tough girl. Montana De La Rosa, she's a dimey dime. She's fucking gorgeous, though. But in the lower women's division, the lower weight classes in the women's division, strength's becoming more of a advantage. Like, these fights are becoming more and more about strength and just how imposing you could be on the other girl. And that plays into this one because Montana De La Rosa is she's a good fighter. She fought at flyweight, though. And she doesn't have anything on the inside, man. I've seen her in their fight against, I don't know who it was. Wait, let me look real quick. Her fight against Mackenzie Deron, or maybe it was Montana. It was someone, but she had nothing on the inside, and she's been training a lot on Instagram and shit. But Andrea Lee, like, she likes her boxing. You know, she has the occasional leg kick and body kick, but she has pressure, man. And it's not the kind of pressure where she's gonna be landing a lot of punches, but she'll just walk you down, say in your face, and land the more effective strikes. Roxanne was doing well against her on the feet. She missed a lot of punches, though. And she got beat by Roxanne. She's improved a lot since then, don't get me wrong. But that scared me for a second watching tape. But once I watched Montana's tape, if Montana can turn this into a pure grappling match where she's on top, I could see that. But I just don't see her. I mean, she, against her last fight versus Nadia Kassim is shit. Like, come on, who was that? This is Andrea at least faced the better competition as well. Veronica Macedo was Tracy. She fought Invicta for a minute. Andrea at least fought Rachel Ostovich and fucking, I don't even know. I mean, Montana De La Rosa fought Rachel Ostovich and Nadia Kassim in her last couple fights, so that's not going to do much to prepare you. I think Andrea Lee can stay out of her submissions and just get a decision on her. Then we got Bryan Barbarena versus Randy Brown. I remember Randy Brown's he got fluky KO'd in his last fight versus Nico Price. I mean, he was arguably winning that fight before that. And I like that he took a lot of time off in between his last couple fights. Since he got KO'd, he hasn't fought since 2018, early 2018, so I like that when a fighter gets KO'd and, a fluky way like that. Take a lot of time off and reevaluate, man. Reevaluate why you got caught with that shot. Bryan Barberena, man, he went to war with Vicente Luque, and he ended up getting KO'd in the third round with only about 10 seconds left, about 8 seconds left. So I just look at the damage this man's taking. He has fought a lot of grapplers, but he gets punched on quite a bit if you watch his tape. And Randy Brown's taking some time off. I guarantee you he's evolved, man. He looked good versus Nico Price, but I guarantee you he's gonna look even better this fight. I think what's gonna set him apart is his footwork. The footwork, Randy Brown's footwork and the amount of damage Bryan Barberena's took in his last fight, that's the recipe for this one, man. I like Randy Brown, man. I think he can win this fight just keeping Barberena at the end of his punches. Barberena's a dog, though. He's going to be in there for the full 3 rounds. His biggest asset is his chin, man. He has good enough hands to hang in there, but I think the damage might catch up to him in this one, in my opinion. Then we got Lineker versus Font. John Lineker, man, he went to fucking war with Corey Sandhagen. Like, that was a crazy fight. Sandhagen was so technical in that fight. That was one of the best fights I've ever seen. And the way he was ducking at it from inches, and he had Lineker hitting his gloves all night. But Font isn't Corey Sandhagen. Like, this guy takes losses. He takes losses to Pedro Munoz, and we've seen what Pedro Munoz is. Look what Aljamain did to him, and I called that. Go check out my last video for that. But man, he already lost to Lineker, and in that fight, it's just the constant pressure of Lineker. He almost broke. He couldn't break Sandhagen, but what Font did is just. He's at a good camp. He trains with good boxers and Calvin Kattar. But Lineker's not a boxer. He just throws hammers. Like, he's hooks, and he just walks you down the whole time. Except the first couple seconds. He'll lay off the first 30 seconds, then he'll just turn it up. I don't see Font coming up with a new game plan all of a sudden. I like that Lineker's staying active. I think that'll even help him out with his reflexes a little more, help him know what to do in those moments. but I just don't know what Font's going to do. I mean, he fought Sergio Pettis in his last fight. Sergio Pettis is a flyweight. Before that, he lost to a Sunsow, so that just shows you where he is in this division, man. Lineker is like a top 5 gatekeeper in that division, no matter what. So that's all you can say about that. We got the main event. Renato Moicano versus Chen Sung-jung. And I love Chen Sung-jung, man. It's the Korean Zombie. In his last fight versus Jair, man, he was dominating every second of that fight, but he got caught with the elbow in the very last 5 seconds. Spinning back elbow, or like upside down elbow or some shit. Fluky. But it was his fault for being too friendly and they're shaking hands too much. Moicano, he has weak punches on the inside. Right when I watched his fight, who was it versus? It was versus Qatar. You could see that Moicano really has nothing on the inside. And Chen Sung-jung thrives on the inside. Korean Zombie, man, he's so good on the inside. He has great head movement in there. Like, he'll stand kind of flat-footed. He'll keep feigning at you. But once you commit, I mean, he'll piece you up. Very quick hands. I've seen a lot of people picking Moicano in this fight, but I think Korean Zombie could get a KO on Moicano in this one. Like, he can KO Moicano. That's actually the way I see this fight playing out. But all Moicano really has is leg kicks in this one, as we've seen against Qatar. But you can't rely on just solely on leg kicks in the top of a division. As we've seen with Gaethje and many other fighters, you're going to get caught eventually if you just keep pumping leg kicks in there recklessly. And I mean, Chen Sung-jung is a beast, man. These people trying to deny him. He got fluky KO'd. He fought a fucking prime Aldo. Other than that, man, his UFC's run's been impeccable. He's fought some killers in there. Fucking Dustin Poirier, like, come on. Yeah, man. Moicano doesn't have high output. He's very basic and shit. Especially, I mean, we've seen what happened with Aldo. He's just not a top 4 fighter. Yeah, he may be a top 5, but he's just not a contender, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think Holloway would do to this man? He would kill him. I mean, if you're going to get... I mean, Ortega wasn't doing horrible in that fight, and Ortega doesn't have very effective hands. So, we've seen what Moicano can do, and I just think Korean Zombie's on a whole nother level, man. And Korean Zombie his fight versus Jair was like a 5-round sparring smash, man. It was just so technical in every aspect until Zombie got KO'd. But other than that, man, it was just like it was the most technical fight I've ever seen. And he's coming off that was in late 2018, so it's not too long of a layoff. I'm happy Chen Sung-jung's getting back in there. I know he's gonna dominate this fight, man. Yeah, that's an easy call in my opinion. I'm starting to get more and more consistent in my picks each week, and right now I'm really hitting my stride. Like I said, like I'm not gonna be missing hardly any fights from now on. Hardly any. My picks are gonna be even more spot on than they were. So stay around for the ride, guys, and shout out to all my subscribers, man. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, man. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. It means a lot. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time.